Now, 20 years ago, the world was introduced to Bend It Like Beckham. The coming-of-age classic is about a British-Sikh teenage girl struggling to balance her traditional family's wishes with her love for playing football. Let's take a look.
It's out of order. Anything I want, it's just not Indian enough for them. I mean, I never bunked off school to go to those daytimers like Pinky or Bubbly. I don't wear makeup or tight clothes like them. They just don't see all those things.
Parents never see the good things.
Yeah, well, anyone could cook aloo gobi, but who can bend a ball like Beckham?
Starring Parminder Nagra, Keira Knightley and Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, the film covers race, gender, sexuality, identity. It's been released in every single country in the world to critical acclaim and became the highest-grossing film about the beautiful game.
Well, I am delighted to say we're now joined by the writer and director Gurinder Chadha. Good evening to you, Gurinder. I'm excited to talk to you because it was one of my favourite films. I can't believe it's been 20 years. I mean, did you have any idea when you were writing it that it was going to be that big?
Absolutely not. I mean, we wrote it, myself, my husband and Gurinder Chadha, the third writer, who was the big Man U fan. We wrote it thinking, OK, our cousins, our friends, maybe a few cool people in New York and cities like that will enjoy it. But we had no idea of the impact that it was going to have back then and still continues to have.
Well, the impact on sport and girls' sport has been massive, hasn't it? I mean, you must get a lot of thanks from a lot of people.
Well, I have to say, these last few days, I've been just overwhelmed with the amount of love there is for the film in articles all over the world and on social media. And I was pretty chuffed because when the American women's team won the World Cup, they all cited Bend It Like Beckham as the reason they started playing football. And so that is an amazing legacy, I have to say. So I felt pretty chuffed then. And so today I feel even more excited and happy because I think the film, as you said in your introduction, it covered so many areas in terms of race and culture and sexuality and gender and all the rest of it. It just was a very authentic representation of what it's like to be a girl, you know, and how you have to negotiate all those different sides of you in order to follow your dream and do what you want. But at the same time, you know, I wanted to not turn the parents into monsters and I wanted to make them very authentic and truthful. So it worked out quite organically being a film for everybody.
Absolutely. And as you say correctly, it touched on so many different issues, but it did it in a real way, an authentic way, as you say, but with a raised eyebrow at times. You know, it gave us a laugh, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a very affectionate film. Up until this point, we hadn't seen a film about a different community in Britain, the Asian community, you know, with so much affection and humour, even though it did cover quite serious subjects too, you know, particularly in the father's journey. But I was determined to show my community as, you know, as being joyful and celebrate my community. That's my mum, by the way, in the middle there in the brown.
Hello,
and my auntie in blue. So I got all my relatives involved as extras and, you know, particularly all the wedding scenes and everything. Those are all my family in there. And it really was, in these scenes, it really was a sense of community coming together and joyfulness, which I think just comes off the screen, doesn't it?
Absolutely, it does. I remember an interview around that time, you were talking about how hard it was to get projects getting the green light. Is it any easier now, or is it as hard as it always was?
Do you know, I feel like people should be running to me with buckets of money and saying, make another film, make another film. And sadly, that's not the case. You know, I do get offers, but for films that I really want to make, particularly British films that sort of reflect the nation as I see it, I don't get as much interest as I feel I should, you know, especially after making such successful films. And I think it's just that the industry just thinks that if you put a film together which has an Indian girl, let's say, in the lead, suddenly it's not seen as commercial as films with white blokes in the lead, if you like, you know, and And I think that's the problem a lot of us feel, also all women as well. You know, our films are often seen as sort of somehow secondary. And I think the truth is the opposite. You know, people want to go out and see themselves on screen. They want to see worlds that represent them, characters that represent them. And I think until people notice the kind of commercial imperative here that we can make that work and we can truly have a British cinema that reflects us all, then sadly we've got a long way to go.
Gurinder, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Sadly, we're out of time, but it has been great to talk to you. We wish you the best for the future. Hopefully, you can write another film for us because we loved Bend It Like Beckham.